Hello, I'm Corey Newton. Welcome to Newton Economics and the Externality Task Force. This video is about New York State Department of Environmental Conservation landfill capping regulations. And I asked that if you have not watched the narrated PowerPoint, the first link on my website, you're going to need to watch that. Otherwise, this is not going to make any sense. So those of you who have not seen it yet, I'm going to give you an opportunity to get up to speed quickly, but you really need to look at that narrated PowerPoint video because it explains this whole thing in much greater detail with much better maps. And in order to understand the effects of the externality of the tunnel leak and the contamination associated with it, that narrated PowerPoint is extremely, extremely important. That's why I created it. That's why it's the first link on my website. So now, in order to get everybody up to speed, this line here is the aqueduct. This line here is 209. These lines that cut off of the aqueduct, this is zone link 2, which occurs in high elevation. Over here is zone link 3, which occurs in high elevation, and this is zone link 4, which occurs in higher elevations. And all this through here is low elevation. This is all low elevation. Here's a Verneuil. Here's Port Bend Road. Here's Lundy Road. So that gives you an idea. Right here is Lippman Lake. And right here is a cap landfill. Cap landfill. And as you see, zone 2 leak cuts through the cap landfill at a higher elevation. And things leach out of the cap landfill into the low elevations. And the water leak in the higher elevations here leach down into the lower elevations here. So whatever's capped, leaching through here, arsenic, barium, beryllium, chromium, cadmium, thallium, uranium, and nitrogen, leaches through in here. And even if it got this far, this is higher elevation and it's already saturated. So you have a swishing back and forth between two leaks at higher elevation, seeping into the lower elevation, up and down the 209 corridor, up down here, and these other rows over here, up down here, and these other rows over here. So this gets you oriented quickly, a quick 2-minute catch up remedial video. I'd like to thank my oldest daughter Sophie for letting me hijack her Dora the Explorer activities sheet to construct this map. But if you're interested in this map and more of the story, please visit CoreyNewton.com. Hit the first link on the top of the page. It's a narrated PowerPoint. It's going to ask you to enable external content. If you'd just like to see the slides about the elevation and the leak and the contamination, do not enable the content. If you'd like to see my audition to be a drill instructor, go ahead and enable the content, and you can see my video from the other night where I was throwing water chemistry cables around my house and screaming and yelling. Contamination results. Contamination results are the center of gravity of this whole entire externality, the whole entire DEC tunnel leak and the contamination associated with it. The Externality Task Force is blitzkrieging through this economic asymmetric information war at lightning speed. And this is the center of gravity. The contamination results. And we're going to keep hitting it. And we're going to keep hitting it. And we're going to keep hitting it as hard and fast as we can until everything around it collapses and the truth comes out and the truth is exposed. So a little bonus points for anybody. There was a person, a historical figure, who asked, truth? What is truth? So bonus points to anybody who could post that on Facebook. So contamination results, cap landfill, New York State DEC, Department of Environmental Conservation, has landfill capping regulations. And the Externality Task Force has released 55 pages of them. And that link should appear on Facebook somewhere. It's also going to appear right under the video on the website. And we've made these easy for you to navigate. All you got to do is open the PDF document and start scrolling down. We have added arrows. We have added stars. We have added highlights to the relevant regulations. We have also added a conversion calculator because some of the charts towards the end measure contamination in UG per liter, and the USGS report and the EPA standards measure them in mgs per liter. So, we've even provided a link so you can convert those if you're really into this. So again, New York State Department of Environmental Conservation landfill capping regulations. Now, the town of Warsing owns a landfill. Okay, so they had to follow these regulations, and obviously they hired contractors because there's 55 pages of them, which is just a tip of the iceberg. I've just released 55 pages of them. There's like, I don't even know how many. And there are specific things that have to be done when a landfill. Now, the landfill was capped in 1996. The water leak in the higher elevation was documented to be occurring in the early 90s, 91, 92. Okay, was the landfill even capped properly? Was it even capped properly? In 1996, I graduated Rondout Valley High School, and I went to Paris Island. So I have no idea what went on in Warsing in 1996. But according to the DEC landfill capping regulations, they were supposed to be quarterly, well monitoring, down in the lower elevations from the capped landfill and from the higher elevations capped landfill. So there should be 18 years of quarterly and every 5-year rain events, and every other monitoring that was required somewhere should have been documented by the contractor who the town hired to monitor in accordance with the DEC landfill capping regulations. And always, how it usually goes is the low man on the food chain with the least resources is left to fend for himself. Now, Ulster County is also into this because they're the next layer of government, and I would expect them to help the towns with these DEC regulations. So what did the Department of Health know about the contractors monitoring? The Department of the Environment, the Department of Emergency Services. So all I'm saying is it shouldn't have come as a surprise when the USGS released their report in 2012 that there was contamination, because these were being monitored quarterly within 5-year rain events. So yearly and quarterly results of monitoring around the capped landfill, because in the 55 pages of DEC regulations I've released, it's supposed to be monitored for 30 years after it was capped. So as I said, it was capped in 1996. It is now 2014. So they've been monitoring for 18 years. They still have another 12 years to go. And there's all sorts of regulations that govern what happens when the contamination is found and what's to be done. So this is why I'm releasing this 55-page document with the DEC landfill capping regulations and the hydraulic assessments that needed to be done before it was capped, after it was capped, the capping after, all this hydraulic stuff. Because as you've seen, and I need you, if you haven't watched the narrated PowerPoint, you need to watch it, because you will see it is proven that those leaks occur on higher elevations. And one of the leaks, the Zone 2 leak, goes right through the landfill, so all that seeps down in the lower elevations, and then the higher elevations on the bottom are seeping into, so you got a whole toxic soup along the 209 corridor that drains into every low-lying elevation that there is. So the Externality Task Force is going to continue to release information. It's going to continue to focus on the center of gravity of this whole thing, which is contamination results. And if anybody from the town needs help looking through those reports, shoot me an email. Let me know. I can burn through information like you cannot even imagine. You give me a stack of those things up to the ceiling, I'll burn right through them, and I'll find the information. So if anybody needs assistance from the Externality Task Force, feel free to contact us through the website, through the Facebook. And there's 55 pages of these. I've starred them, I've arrowed them, and if you're inclined to look through them and see actually that there should be 18 years worth of reports on this capped landfill, it would be interesting to see if the reports, the water quality results that were supposed to be done quarterly in accordance with DEC landfill capping regulations, are they consistent with the findings of the USGS report? Interesting question. They should be, or are they not? And if not, why are they not? And if so, what's going on with these people down here? What are the contractors doing? Are the contractors doing a good job? Are the people who are working getting their money's worth, or are they getting ripped off by the contractors? Or are the contractors doing their jobs and reporting the results, and Warsing reports the results, and then it gets whitewashed because New York City DEP has something to do with it. So these are important questions, and I want you to look at the structure of this. This is a different view than the video I put out last night. And I'm going to keep putting out different views and different views. And this is center of gravity. We're going to keep hitting it. We're going to start beating it like a drum until everybody starts dancing. And all of this bureaucracy, this centralized, hierarchic bureaucracy, you know, finally does the right thing, which we need them to do. And I don't care if it takes a whistleblower. We need whistleblowers to start stepping up and saying, no, this was wrong, and start blowing a whistle. We'll keep banging this drum. We'll keep hitting the center of gravity. This whole entire thing is contamination results. We'll keep hitting it, hitting it, hitting it as fast and hard as we can. And if that, you know, people need time to catch up, let them catch up, because we're going to keep going. We're going to keep blitzkrieging through this at lightning speed, because this is important. So thanks again for your time. And go ahead, if you have not checked out that narrated PowerPoint, I have really good maps. I got the laser pointer going, so I explain all this in detail. And enjoy the rest of your weekend. Have a great week.